All right, so we stopped here at the essential amino acids. I gave you the sequence with which your body will break down energy. And I told you it's the same order in every living human being. So here with the essential amino acids, we're going to start out with breaking down proteins. And as Al so beautifully and so eloquently went through for us, we created a low energy state for all our signs, symptoms, infections, complications. Well, you're going to run out of glucose by the end of 2 days, so hypoglycemia is seen in all of them. Okay? Protein, so muscle wasting is going to be seen in all of them. Fast lasts the longest. That's why you always see hyperlipidemia in every one of them. From the hyperlipidemia, xanthelasma, pancreatitis. Everybody follow me? So we go on and just start connecting to 1,000 things seen in every one of these diseases. But most of them are rare. So we know how to create the diseases. Cause of death, since it started out with muscle protein being broken down, that's neuromuscular disease, which means, Kathia, the most common cause of death would be what? Respiratory failure. See that? We just covered every amino acidopathy. For boys 2 and 3, that's called pediatrics. That'll be all over your peds. Genetic diseases. But there it is. You know everything you need to know about them. All right. How does the body utilize energy? Just to remind you again, plasma glucose lasts 2 to 4 hours. That's why you're hungry every 2 to 4 hours. Liver glycogen lasts 24 to 28 hours. That's why by the end of the second day, you have no more glucose stores. That's when you start breaking down proteins for gluconeogenesis. Then you start breaking down fats, but they last the longest. That's why you see hyperlipidemia and fatty liver, and we can go on. And then ketones are the last resort. Well, you got to ask yourself, Brendan, if your body is turning to ketones, it means you've been starving for a mighty long time. That means, Brendan, who are you trying to make these ketones to use? What organ is going to be using them? I said, what organ? One. The brain. And who? And the heart. And who? The kidney. Oh! Where'd that list come from? Let me see. Let me see for a minute. Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, folks. The same old concepts played out over and over and over. If you know them. If you don't, you'll be trying to copy that down too. You don't have to. If you get extreme starvation, the body says, I'm just going to save the 3 most important organs and let everybody else just die. Okay? End of story. So notable amino acids. Here they are. Phenylalanine is used to make tyrosine. So tyrosine becomes essential if phenylalanine is deficient. You understand, Monica? If you need phenylalanine to make tyrosine, if you can't have phenylalanine, tyrosine becomes essential. Methionine is used to make cysteine. So that means if you're deficient in methionine, cysteine becomes essential too. Everybody with me? All right. Let's talk about diseases then. Because now we know about all amino acidopathies, folks, but only 3 of them are going to be seeing you in the office. Guess which 3 keep showing up on the boards? These are the 3 you better know about because they will see you as a physician. That means if they ask you about essential histodynemia, folks, that's not worth your reading about. I just told you everything you need to know. All we do is just put together our concepts. You can figure it out if you want. But that one dies. That's why they don't ask you about it. But in case they want to sneak that in, fine, you're still ready. But the 3 that show up in your office, you better know the most about. Okay? Phenylalanine hydroxylase is what's deficient. If this is an enzyme deficiency, Dahlia, how's it inherited? Autosomal recessive. If it's autosomal recessive, FASL. What's the chance of getting it if both parents have it? 25%. What's the chance of being a carrier? FASL. 2/3, 67%, he says with extraordinary confidence. I like that, FASL. My man got cleats in the ground now. All right. Very good. So remember, once you know how it's inherited, the numbers are fixed. We've sang those songs so many times. You should just know them automatically now. All right. Without phenylalanine, you're unable to make tyrosine. Therein lies your problem, Josh. Without tyrosine, you can't make your catecholamines. That's why they are retarded. No dopamine, no norepinephrine. That's why they're retarded. If you can't make tyrosine, you can't make melanin. That's why they have no pigment. Well, if you have no pigment in your eyes will be blue. No pigment in your hair will be blonde. No pigment in your skin will be fair. And then if you're not doing anything with all this phenylalanine, folks, it'll just bind to acetate and pyruvate. And when you pee it off, it has a real musty odor. So that's why you see blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, musty odor, and retarded. The problem was, in the old days, Sandeep, whenever they saw somebody who was blonde hair, blue eyes, they were retarded. They said, wait a minute. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's something in that blonde hair that made you retarded. So, because every time they saw blonde hair, blue eye, fair skin, oh, a retarded person. I said, dang it, man. Well, folks, that's where all these blonde jokes came from. When they found out those children had a reason to be retarded, well, as physicians, we felt remorse. We said, you know what? We need to take the stigma away from blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. So then they just called them blonde jokes. But blonde jokes first started out as jokes against PKU patients. They realized there was a metabolic reason for it, and so they didn't want the jokes to continue. You can't be making fun of your patients when we walk in your office. All right? So that's how to remember. PKU, blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, musty odor, and retarded. Hey, you know what? In the old days, you know what they used to do? There's a lot of foods that have phenylalanine. One big one is aspartame, NutraSweet. NutraSweet. Well, to make people aware of it, the ones who have PKU, that this thing had NutraSweet in it, they would put a nice, colorful rainbow wheel on that can or package, and that would alert the PKU patients, don't eat or drink this. You understand, Kimberly? Okay. Well, today, they don't put a colorful wheel on it anymore. They just write it on a can or package, Kimberly. They just say, do not eat if you have PKU. I don't get it. I don't get it, Rebecca. Why didn't we just write it 20 years ago? Why didn't we just write it on a can? Because what? Because what? Because they were retarded back then, folks. They couldn't read. Everybody follow that? See, that's public health. That's why they ask you these kind of questions. Back then, they were retarded because we didn't know what the problem was. We were making fun of them. What are you talking about? That's what, we didn't know what was going on. When we found out what it was, if you take phenylalanine out of their diet, they become normal. See that? Take phenylalanine out of their diet, put tyrosine in, they become normal. And then now you rarely ever hear about somebody with PKU who's retarded. That's how you know. They can just write it on the cans now. We've progressed. They can read because they're not retarded. Well, let's say, Elvis, you got a mom who's pregnant, and she has a history of PKU. And for the first trimester, she didn't follow her diet like she should have. Elvis, when does the brain form, man? How many weeks? What? So you see the no quarter at 3, brain is fully formed at 8 weeks. If a mom does not follow her diet in the first trimester, folks, and she comes to see you anytime after 8 weeks, you have to inform her that the damage has already been done. Does you understand why? The brain's already formed. That means all this toxic metabolite has already done brain damage to the baby. Why do I need to tell her that? Just so she understands it's not your fault. You know, these days, if a baby comes out looking ugly, they blame the doctor. Must be the doctor. Doctor did something. Those can't be my genes, man. So I got to tell you the story, right? I was on pediatric newborn nursery rotation. And there's this book in peds called FLKs, Funny Looking Kids. This is genetic syndromes. I'm serious. Genetic syndromes. You can look up, you know, you see strangely looking kids, you look up their the signs, and then they can tell you what syndrome it is. Well, I remember we had this strange looking one, you know, and we were all attending, about 3 or 4 of us. We were all, and then we go back to trying to figure out what it is. Well,